these chords can be really used to create a lot of different sounds. Okay? And in church, these things are really, really powerful because it helps you to really flow and maneuver through different changes in the church service when you want to instantly go into like a really churchy moment. Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Chord Crush Thursdays, where every week we get to a new chord or chord progression that hopefully will help you to take your playing to another level. We're back with another lesson, and we're gonna actually be piggying back from the last video. This is episode 16. We're gonna be piggybacking from episode 15, where I got into two magical chords that will help you to flow through your church service. And these are chords that musicians use all the time. Sound like this, that little churchy walk up. But before we get into that, I want to say congratulations to last week's winner. Every week we pick a new winner to win 90 days in the Gospel Music Training Center. So congratulations to last week's winner. We're going to actually announce this week's winner at the end of the video, so make sure you get into the comments. That's how we pick a winner. We do a random comment picker, and you win 90 free days in the Gospel Music Training Center. And also, I want to give a huge shout out. We had a really great comment from a guy by the name of Corey Lewis. It's pretty long. I'm gonna put it up on the screen. You guys can pause it if you want to read the whole thing. But this is the reason why we do what we do, because of comments just like this. He said, and briefly, there's more to it than this, but he said, I was a total beginner, but I learned how to play, or I learned how to fully play from this program to where I was able to play for my church a few times when our musician wasn't available. That's a really great comment. That's great to hear. Once again, shout out to you, Corey. This is why we do what we do, and we hope a lot of you guys have similar success. All right, so let's get into this lesson. But before we do, on the way in, make sure you hit the like button, and also if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you don't miss out on any of this future content. Oh yeah, and one more thing. If you want the chords to this lesson in all 12 keys, text CRUSH to the number that you see in the description below. Text CRUSH, and we will send you a PDF document with these chords in all 12 keys. That will help you out a lot. All right, so let's look at the scaling number system. Here we go. So E flat is the 1, F is the 2, G is the 3, A flat is the 4, B flat is the 5, C is the 6, D is the 7, and then we're back at the 1, E flat. Okay, so that's our number system and scale for the key of E flat major. So for those of you who don't know, we're actually picking up from where we left off. I think I said that already. In episode 15, what I showed you was these two chords. We went from a minor 6 chord on the 4, so we're in the key of E flat major, right? And I already broke this down in episode 15, so if you haven't checked that out, we get into the fundamentals of the concept of what we're doing right now. So now we're gonna take it a step further and get into some drop 2 chord voicings and things that you can do to enhance. And make sure you stick around to the end of the video, because we're gonna get more and more fancy. I'm gonna show you some different things that you could do to even get even more creative, all right? But we're gonna start off laying the foundation first. That's important so you can understand how to do this, not just in this key, but in all 12 keys. So just a quick review of what we did on the last video. I showed you that based off of the 4th tone and the 5th tone of any key, in this particular case, we're in the key E flat major. So the 4th tone is A flat, right? So the 4, we would play an A flat minor 6 chord, right? And then on the 5, the 5th tone of the scale is B flat. And we would play a B flat diminished 7 chord. So that's briefly what we went over, is these two chords are what go back and forth when you hear this sound. And I even went over different alternate bass notes where, you know, every note of the chord of the A flat minor 6 can be a bass note. The A flat can be a bass note, the F can be a bass note, the E flat can be a bass note, and even one thing that I didn't tell you was the flat 7 of E flat. That's the 7, the flat 7 can also be a bass note, as well as playing these chords, and all the inversions is important because it's gonna help you to move. And even with the diminished 7 chord that I showed you on the 5, right? Every note of that particular chord can be an individual bass note, right? And basically you can transition from this B flat diminished 7th with any of these bass notes that are within the chord to the A flat minor 6 with any of these bass notes. And that's how you end up with some of these chord movements. Now we're going to get into some drop 2 chord voicings, because these chords can be really used to create a lot of different sounds. Okay? And in church, these things are really, really powerful because it helps you to really flow and maneuver through different changes in the church service when you want to instantly go into like a really churchy moment. These chords help to take you there. So basically it's like this. We're going to go from a B flat diminished 7 to an A flat minor 6 to a B flat diminished 7 to an A flat minor 6. And we're going to alternate back and forth. So it's going to be very important that you practice this and know all the inversions of the chord. So first off, you got to just know the inversions of these chords. And you can pause the video, you can take a break, or come back to it if you just want to watch the video. I recommend that you watch the whole thing because that really helps the algorithm for YouTube, for it to share it with more people. But practice these chords in all the inversions first. That's the key to mastering these concepts. Unfortunately, a lot of people, they want to get all into the movements and everything, but they don't have the basics down. So you got to practice the basics first, and that's understanding the inversions of these 2 chords. It's only 2 chords. It's a B flat diminished 7 and it's an A flat minor 6. So once you understand the inversions individually, okay, this is the B flat diminished 7, and all I'm doing is taking a chord and inverting it by putting the lowest note up top, doing that again, putting the lowest note up top, and that's how I'm getting these different inversions, okay? You got root position, first inversion, second inversion, and then third inversion. And then the same thing with the A flat minor 6. We got root position, first inversion, second inversion, third inversion, and then we're back at root position, first inversion. So this is something that you need to really get in your mind, because then once you master the inversions, now you're going to master alternating back and forth between both of them. So if we start with this B flat diminished 7, you're going to go to this A flat minor 6, then to this B flat diminished 7th, then this A flat minor 6, then this B flat diminished 7, then this A flat minor 6, and just keep practicing going up until you can do it effortlessly. Because before you get into the drop 2 voicings, you gotta feel these shapes in your hands. And they're shapes, you can feel them after a while, okay? So then, now, the thing with this drop 2 situation is that you're gonna do the same thing, but the second to highest note is gonna be dropped into the left hand. So now, once you play the first chord, now we're gonna get into some interesting things, because you can actually, you know what? Before we do that, I recommend that you practice the drop 2 voicings by themselves, the same way that you would practice the inversions. So basically, that's probably gonna help a lot better, because you can probably be able to see these chord voicings before you get into the movements. So we got 2 chords. The first one is the B flat diminished 7. So this is in root position. So I would take the E and put it right here, okay? So this is how you can practice this. Okay? So just practice it like this and keep going. And same thing with the A flat minor 6 practices too as well. So I'm gonna go up higher, but when we actually start to do this, I'm gonna start lower and alternate back and forth. So I have A flat, B, and F in my right hand, and then I have E flat in my right. I'm sorry, E flat in my left. So E flat in the left, A flat, B, and F in the right. So that's that A flat minor 6. And then we're gonna go up. So we got F in the left hand and B, E flat, and A flat. Now, if you're having a hard time seeing what's happening in the left hand as far as how it's moving, you're just moving up to every note of the A flat minor 6 chord. The same thing with the B flat diminished 7th. And what I'm trying to tell you is that if you don't know what the next note of the chord is gonna be in your left hand when you're doing drop 2, it's the next note of the chord. If you look at the chord like this, and you start off with the first note being E flat, and you're playing it like this with a drop 2, then the next note of the chord is gonna be the next note of the chord if you were playing a chord like this. So it'll go from here to here to here to here. So it's important that you can see this chord because that's gonna help you to be able to know what to do with your left hand, okay? So we got the first one, root position. I think that's root. If we look at it like this, it would be root position, A flat minor 6 chord. And then drop the 2, second to highest note of the chord, drop that into the left hand, that's a drop 2. And then the second to highest note, which is F, we drop that into our left hand, okay? For those of you who don't know what drop 2 is, you should if you watched the last video, okay? So practice these too as well until you really get them down, okay? So then once you practice those, then now you're gonna practice alternating back and forth between both of them. So it's gonna be like you're doing this. So B flat diminished 7, A flat minor 6, B flat diminished 7, A flat minor 6, but in drop 2, okay? Because this helps you to do. So it helps you to do movements, okay? That was ugly, that chord, but you get the idea. So what we're gonna do is practice the same concept, but now in drop 2. So we got a B flat diminished 7. If you drop that E down to the left hand, now we got this. So I'll just hold the chords because explaining this will take forever and we don't got that much time. So B flat diminished 7 to A flat minor 6, drop 2, drop that F into the left hand. B flat diminished 7, drop that G down here, okay. A flat minor 6, drop that A flat down here, okay. B flat diminished 7, drop the B flat down here. So this is how you should practice. I mean, you don't have to do this. You could just practice the chords by themselves. So I'll play them slow, and then that way you can actually write them down. So the voicing will be like this. That's the first one. Second one. And if you look at the left hand, it's going right up the A flat melodic minor bebop. But I just started from E. It's going right up the scale, starting from E. And you should know that this is the scale. You got the A flat major scale, and the only difference is you have a minor third, and then you also have added the flatted sixth to the scale. Okay? And you just practice this. And what I end up doing is doing grace notes. For some reason, doing this slower is harder. There we go. Everybody makes mistakes, it's all right, okay? And you can even practice coming down. Now, a lot of times when you do these movements, you hear them going to the 5 a lot of times. And when you play the 5 chord, you're playing like an E flat major chord. It's pretty much an inversion of an E flat major chord, okay? Any one, all right? So just for an example, I'm playing an E flat major, drop 2 over with the B flat, okay? So there's a lot of different things that you could do. Once you really get this underneath your fingertips, but the key thing is to practice the drop 2, alternating back and forth, going up, and then coming back down, because you're gonna do it both ways at some point. And it's all about melody and doing what you wanna hear. But you're only gonna be able to get to that point once you really get these underneath your fingertips. Now, another thing that you could do is practice the major chord, the 1 chord, the E flat major chord, in different inversions and drop 2. So you can start off with E flat in the left hand and then B flat and G in the right. So that's like playing a E flat major chord in second inversion, and then you're gonna drop the 2. Or drop the second to highest note into the left hand, okay? And then practice the root position 1 and drop 2. Then practice the second inversion and drop 2. And then, you know, practice that the same way. Because once you do this, then that's another thing that you can add to the movement. So you can start off with an E flat major chord, and then go to the B flat diminished 7. Now, another thing I will point out is that sometimes I get to a point where even though this is a drop 2 chord voicing, but I end up dropping everything that's in the middle and end up with just the outside note. So even like, for example, when you practice this diminished chord, this B flat diminished 7 and drop 2, I'll even get rid of this note and just play outside notes. So that's another thing that happens too as well, that'll help you movement. And all I did right there was play different inversions of an E flat major chord. So once you really, I don't want to put you in the mindset of specific things, because I want you to experiment, and how you experiment is by taking these concepts and practicing them individually. So that's an E flat major chord, practice that, get it down until you could see it all over the piano. And even the diminished 7 chord. I'll do that again, and this is more open. Even less notes, just the outside notes in the right hand. You don't have any of these, okay? And even a minor 6 chord. Whoops, ain't it? It's even harder to see without those middle notes in there, but you get the idea. So let's say you're here, and then you want to drop the left hand to G, right? Well, you got a couple options. You can either play a diminished 7 chord, or you can play an E flat major chord, because that E flat major chord has that G2. So you can go from here. Or you can do this. So practice the different ones. So we're gonna get into some more things that you could do in episode 17. I wanted to really show you how to practice these chords in this video, and hopefully this helps you to start to build and get ideas from these concepts, because like I said, I don't want to put you in the mindset of do this, do this, do that. I want you to experiment and start to build your own creativity to the point where now you get the ideas of how these movements work. And it starts by just practicing the voicings, getting them under your belt, okay? And like I said, a lot of times they take you to an E flat major chord, right? You can go so many different places after that. Whoops, not that. But you get the idea. So when you start to practice and experiment, you're gonna make some mistakes just like that. But the key thing to do is have an open mind and understand that's a part of the process. You're not gonna, play everything perfect right away. Your ear is gonna have to start to guide you. And the more and more you hear the language and the more you hit bad notes, you know, okay, I don't wanna do that. That's not gonna work. That's how you find out what works and what doesn't work. So practice, really get these inversions under your belt. Remember, the 1, the 4, and the 5, these are the key elements that happen when it comes down to these movements. The 4 being a minor 6 chord in whatever key. We're in the key E flat. The 4 is the minor 6 chord. The 5 is the diminished 7th. And then the 1 is E flat in this particular case, but practice all those in drop too. Okay? All right, so I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Now we're gonna announce the winner for last week's comment section. We're gonna give 90 free days into the Gospel Music Training Center. Hopefully you enjoyed this lesson. God bless. Make sure you hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Let's get it, here we go. All right, y'all, so now we're gonna pick this winner for this week's 90 free days in the Gospel Music Training Center. All right, so we got the random comment picker up. So we're gonna go and grab the URL from last week's video. As you can see, the magical power of minor diminished walk-ups and stuff. So this is last week's video. So what we're gonna do is copy the link from this video. Here we go, and then we're gonna paste it over here. Boom, we got the link. So now we're gonna gather the comments, but first we're gonna filter out if there are any duplicate users that commented more than once, so that way it's not unfair. All right, so we got that. So we're gonna gather the comments. So we got 49 comments. We're getting better and better with these comments, y'all. Appreciate all the feedback. So now we're going to pick the winner. Here we go. All right, the Gospel Movement, congratulations. You got 90 days in the Gospel Music Training Center, absolutely free. You commented, great lesson. I appreciate that. Congratulations once again. Make sure you email us at help@hearandplay.com so that way we can give you your free 90 days to you. All right, y'all. That's it. We out of here. God bless. Peace.